Have you ever noticed something strange when you study English? If someone gives you an article to read or you watch a video with subtitles, your brain understands it right away. The words make sense, the grammar is easy, and your mind doesn't struggle at all. But let's try a quick test right now. Read this sentence out loud at a normal speaking speed. I was wondering if you'd be able to help me out with something. Easy, right? You understood the meaning perfectly the moment you read it. Now, close your eyes. Imagine a coworker walks up to your desk and asks, "Hey, do you have a quick second?" Try to reply out loud with that exact same phrase from memory, naturally, without looking back at the text. If you are like most English learners, your mind just stopped. You hesitated, you stumbled, or your brain forgot that smooth phrase and used a basic robotic shortcut like, "Yes, what you need." That frustrating delay, that big gap between what you instantly understand and what you can actually speak, is exactly what we are talking about today. This isn't a motivation problem, and it isn't something you can fix by just reading more textbooks. It is a habit in how your brain processes language. Let's look at why this happens and build a simple plan to fix it.
Listening versus speaking. To understand why you can't speak fluently yet, we need to look at two ideas in language research. Back in the 1980s, a researcher named Stephen Krashen introduced the input idea. He said we learn language mostly by taking it in, listening to and reading things that are just a little bit hard for us. In this idea, speaking isn't something you actively practice. The theory says that if you read and listen to enough words, speaking will just happen naturally. This idea is everywhere today. It's why people tell you to just watch movies in English, listen to podcasts, and surround yourself with the language. And you've probably done a lot of this, which is exactly why your understanding is so good.
But it only solves half the problem. Another researcher, Meryl Swain, noticed a big problem with this idea. She studied students in French schools in Canada. These kids spent years listening to fluent teachers and reading French books every single day. They should have been perfect speakers, but they weren't. While their listening and reading were great, their speaking was full of basic mistakes and lots of pausing. Swain realized that understanding language and speaking language use two totally different parts of the brain. When you listen, your brain takes shortcuts. But when you speak, you have to choose every word, put them in the right order, and pronounce them in a split second. She called this noticing the gap. The exact moment you try to say something and realize you don't know how, your brain switches from a passive listener into an active builder. If you only watch videos, you never force your brain to build that bridge. Stopping the mental translation habit. If your mouth freezes while your mind understands perfectly, you are likely stuck in a tiring thinking loop. When you want to speak, your brain silently builds the thought in your native language first. Then it uses your native grammar rules and tries to translate it word by word into English before letting it out. Linguists call this first language interference. Because you are trying to do a complex translation in just 1 or 2 seconds, your brain panics. The structure of your native language leaks into your English, leading to the wrong prepositions and weird word orders. Fluent speakers completely skip this loop. They use direct retrieval. They link their thoughts straight to English phrases without taking a detour through their native language. To break this bad habit, you need to stop your brain from translating. We do this through English-only self-talk. The routine. Take just 5 minutes during a simple daily task, like making coffee or driving. The rule. Say exactly what you are doing out loud in English in real time.
The rule for missing words. If you don't know a specific English word, you are absolutely not allowed to look it up or stop speaking. You must describe around it. If you forget the word spatula, you must say, "the flat plastic tool I use to flip the food." By forcing your sentences to finish without stopping, you train your brain to operate entirely inside English. The feedback problem. Why corrections ruin your flow. In most classrooms, when you make a mistake, the listener immediately interrupts to fix it. You say, "I have 25 years," and they jump in with, "No, say, I am 25 years old." While this feels helpful, brain research shows that immediate corrections during live speech actually hurt your long-term fluency. Stopping you in the middle of a thought completely breaks the speaking process your brain is trying to build. Worse, it triggers a stress block. This is a wall of emotion caused by a sudden spike in anxiety. When this wall goes up, it locks down your memory, making it incredibly hard to remember words you actually know perfectly well.
The fix: delayed feedback. If you practice with a language partner or a teacher, give them a clear rule before you open your mouth. Please let me finish my whole thought before you give me feedback, or just repeat the correct version back naturally later without stopping me. This protects your focus and lets your brain practice continuous speaking. The core secret: speak in phrases, not single words. Natural, fluent speech does not happen by pulling single words out of a mental dictionary and gluing them together using grammar rules. Trying to build sentences that way in real time is simply too slow for normal conversations. Instead, fluent speakers rely heavily on word blocks or phrases. These are groups of words stored in your long-term memory as a single item. Your brain remembers them instantly as a single block, exactly the same way you remember your own name. To stop translating word for word, here are useful phrases to practice. Say these out loud so they become automatic. To buy thinking time, saving you from a silent, awkward pause. That's a really interesting question. Let me think about that for a second. Or, give me a split second to pull my thoughts together. To soften an opinion, be polite. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we might be missing something here. To disagree politely. I understand your point, but I see it a little differently. To fix a misunderstanding. Could you say that in a slightly different way, just so I'm completely sure? To connect your thoughts. That being said, we still need to think about the long-term results. The 14-day speaking plan. To move past the intermediate level, you need a clear plan focused entirely on speaking. Here is your 14-day blueprint. Days 1 to 3. Stop the translation habit. Practice 5 minutes of daily, continuous, English-only self-talk. Push through to the absolute end of every single sentence without checking a dictionary. Days 4 to 6. Build muscle memory with shadowing. Find a 60-second audio track of a native speaker in a natural interview. Play the audio and speak out loud at the exact same time, copying their rhythm and stress. Repeat the exact same clip 5 times in a row. This trains the physical muscles in your mouth to handle natural English sounds without hesitation. Days 7 to 9. Practice your word blocks. Pick 3 multi-word phrases from the examples we just discussed. Speak aloud 10 completely original sentences per day using those specific phrases. Connect them to your real life. Do not use fake textbook examples. Days 10 to 12. Low-pressure practice. Have a short 3 to 5 minute conversation with a partner or teacher.
Clearly ask them to use the delayed feedback rule before you start speaking.
Days 13 to 14, the speech check. Record a video or audio of yourself on your phone. Choose a random topic and speak without stopping for 2 full minutes. Listen back exactly once. Do not criticize your accent. Instead, notice exactly where you paused to translate and which phrases came out automatically. This is your helpful data for the next cycle. Activating your English. Your struggle to speak English fluently isn't a sign of failure, and it doesn't mean your brain isn't wired for languages. Through years of reading, listening, and watching content, your mind has successfully built a massive, working, understanding system. That foundation is real, and it is incredibly valuable.
But understanding and speaking are two entirely different brain skills. To unlock the knowledge that is already inside your head, you have to intentionally step away from just consuming more content and start forcing active speaking. Do not try to master all of this at once. Pick exactly one practice exercise from this guide, take 5 word blocks, and spend 5 minutes practicing them out loud today. Stop waiting for fluency to happen on its own and start building the direct paths to real-time speech. You've got this. I'll see you in the next video.